Such a display, both childish and healthy, tickled his darkest thought, his most pitiful thoughts. However, hard he rejected them with all his strength. His hand became sweaty and trembling. His hand confessed his torments. But Ambre couldn't understand. Ambre was a little girl, only a little girl. The months flew at a breakneck speed. Tristan refused to admit it, but his young friend was growing up. He wanted to ignore the fact, turn a blind eye, but the unstoppable passage of time had already started to do its work. Ambre was going through a strange crisis. That evening she was particularly angry and proclaimed vigorously, "I don't want to be a child anymore." "How so?" "I want to become older." "But you have plenty of time for this, Ambre." "I want to become older faster. That way I could do more things." The 30-year-old man sighed. He obviously did not know how to answer such assertion. I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. He had never had a child and he was not very good at calming down revolts regardless. Taken aback, he left the girl to sulk in the living room to take a long, relaxing shower. While he was soothing his worries in the rush of hot water, she displayed an angry pout. "That's not fair. I wish I could be older right now. If only I had a model. I wonder what Tristan's wife looked like, for example. I'm sure that she was a kind person. But he never wants to talk about it. He avoids the subject. It could be that he is hiding something from me." Intrigued, Ambre took advantage of his absence to open a drawer she had never touched before. Inside, under the telephone directory, was a big leather notebook. Convinced she had found a treasure, she grabbed it and opened it. It was a photo album. Spread on the pages were bright smiles and tender gestures. Browsing through the pictures, the little girl discovered her guardian, young and dashing, in the arms of a coquettish young lady. Dressed soberly and tastefully, she was strolling along the seashore with a shawl on her shoulders or in a park holding an ice cream. But what caught her eyes was a very specific picture that towered in the center of the album. Tristan, wearing a suit, was leading his lover out of a church with clumsy footsteps under a shower of flower petals. She looked so happy, so fulfilled in her large refined white dress that Ambre was stupefied. All the more so as the bride looked exactly like her. "She is so pretty." "What are you looking at?" Tristan's sudden appearance made her jump, so much that she dropped the forbidden object. He gazed darkened immediately. "You searched through the closet to see what my wife looked like, didn't you?" She answered in a shaky voice, guiltily. "Yes. Are you going to scold me?" "Of course not. I just would have preferred that you didn't see it." "Why? Why don't you ever talk about her? I want to know." He sighed, appearing upset as he looked into those begging eyes that he had never been able to resist for long. Reluctantly, he sat down on the couch and told her how he met the one he thought would be the love of his life, and related all that they had gone through together. Ambre listened with wide-eyed attention. She liked that story very much. Tristan seemed to briefly get younger as he evoked the past, describing how head over heels he had been for her and how happy she had made him. The peaceful and ordinary everyday life was something the little girl envied. Caught up in the taste, she couldn't help but pressure him. And then, what happened? Until the light shining in the man's grey eyes brutally vanished. And then she left. Where to? Far away to a place where I can't reach her anymore. Every day I pray that she will somehow hear me, that she will wake up, that she will remember me. I don't know if she will ever emerge from the dream that's keeping her captive. Is she dead? Sometimes it feels like it, but no, she's still alive, just in a different world from mine. If I could have joined her, I would have sacrificed everything for her, and today she's forgotten me forever. That's sad. Tristan sighed again, head down, as a heavy crushing silence came between them. Ambre stared at the photo, bewitched by the woman's smile. Deep down in her heart she had an odd thought. If I was older, I could replace Tristan's wife and he wouldn't be sad anymore. That night, she left a devastated Tristan lying as immobile as a statue on the sofa. Slipping between the covers of her cozy bed sheets, she felt helpless. If only I was older. The thought took root more and more violently in her mind to the point where it became an emergency. She had to become Tristan Mallory's wife. A new routine sized little Ambre. It was now out of question for her to stay a little girl. She wanted to grow as suddenly as a butterfly, a beauty cursed by its unfurled life. This began a kind of adolescence. She no longer woke up in the morning when Tristan went to work. She waited until midday to surface and took her meal at a time. Tristan did not call her at the usual hour anymore. He knew that she would not be in the mood. After a brief meal, the young girl watched television while leafing around magazines bought with the pocket money her benefactor gave her. Her afternoon fluctuated between American TV shows and beauty tips. Between the pages of the magazines, she learned how to become pretty to seduce men, an idea she liked a lot. She wanted Tristan to look at her, to take an interest in her in a different way. To be seen as a woman, she had to act as a woman, but she absolutely didn't know how to do this. These magazines, which were overflowing with tips of all kinds, seemed like an Eldorado to her. Through the articles, she learned how to act, how to become a true lady. It wasn't very complicated. She only had to keep a close watch on all of her gestures, to constantly control her every movement, so as to convey the best image possible. She had to track down all human weaknesses, every inconvenience, and walk with a relaxed and self-assured air, but not too much or she would frighten, she would crush. Ambre nodded as she was reading what the editor wrote. Of course, she had to be open and smiling, but not too much that she would come across an exuberant. She had to laugh often, but not too loudly as it was what hysterics would do. She had to be independent and take initiative, but only if the situation lends itself to it, and in a non-threatening way. She had to show herself to be as natural as possible, while enhancing all her advantages with a note of makeup. Ambre understood the necessity of buying some in order to become a true woman. She had to dress in a feminine way to demonstrate her worth, while being sober enough so as not to attract unwanted attention. So then, she was advised to learn to listen to men, not to talk too much, which would be selfish, to be discreet but present, available as